And welcome back for part three. So, for part three, this one should take about 45 minutes long and it will be an interactive part. That is, I will be reading certain parts and you will be completing some tasks. And the task here at hand is going to be reporting. We are going to be looking at the old reports and then we're going to be trying to imitate them and attempt our best to recreate a report from a actual event that happened. So here we go. So step one of today is looking at this report once more and essentially trying to break down what we need to put into our own report. Essentially, we're going to be looking at this crime here. This particular crime is one from 1992, and you guys will be making a report of this and of the events that we see within this video. But we are going to be doing our best to look over this report first and imitate the key details. So what do we see here? We see synopsis, and then we have a statement here which explains to us what kind of crime. Specifically, they start with the activity of who is involved and what is the main charge, what is the main thing that they are going to be going after. Specifically, they mention here stolen guns and the possession of them and of the drugs. They also mention immediately further pieces of evidence, bulletproof vest, and that these particular things were recently done in the location where they want to do the search warrant. We then see a steady, step-by-step, hour-by-hour process of the event. We see here that this person was contacted, the police officer was contacted by another one. He explains that this person was out and about doing whatnot, and then we see basically a repetition of the details here. You don't, if you are writing your own report for this, you do not necessarily need to report this. We then see additional information given, mistakes were made. I'm sure you remember that phrase from last time. And after that, we see furthermore additional information in a time frame after these key events, but also at the same time explaining what is the major event or the major pieces of evidence trying to build towards probable cause. And then after this, we have this last phrase saying, I've done this before, I'm really smart, I know my stuff in this particular area, this is the conclusion I make, and so on and so forth. Followed by, I request that a search warrant be issued. This is the big one, because of course we want to have this particular what we want a search warrant signed off by a judge. There we go. We want this to be signed off by a judge. So why is this important? You guys will be writing out a report in a very similar manner. There will be various steps. There will be various details that need to be explained, and you guys will be following up this format. Initial statement, what kind of crime this is, the first major event, then followed by step-by-step moments reporting things using simple past, present perfect, and or passive sentences. Remember, use present perfect to initiate things that have just happened as if they had just happened if you were a police officer in 1992. So, let's go back to the piece at hand also. Don't worry too much about the video. We're not going to watch the video in great detail, mainly because of copyright, and I want this video to stay up. If you don't have the link, this is an easy way to Google it, but I will be adding a link to this in your extra notes. So, this particular video is 11 minutes long. It will take you at least 11 minutes to understand and watch it. And we'll be going over this step by step. What are the key moments, what you need to know. So, your first activity of this interactive part today, you are going to watch the whole video, about 11 minutes. This shouldn't be too difficult for most of you. If you need more time, it is what it is. If you're faster with these sort of things, hey, congrats, but I imagine some people need to pause this video. And what we want to do is, breaking down this video, we need to understand key points first before we can create a report on it. So what do we need to know first? Well, we first want to understand what is going on. So we have an initial start for our report in the same way that this report started with the time. We have the initial statement of what the crime is, and then we have the date, and then followed by the actual crime. You guys are going to be making a statement as to what this is. So my first question for you on this video is, what is this crime and how long does this crime go on for? This is not a one-day kind of crime. Followed by the damages that are done. How much damage is done, how many people die, these sorts of things. Listing off the major events. Then you need to understand, where did it start, why the riots started in this particular event. And as you probably saw, the title of this video is called Rooftop Koreans. This event is arguably one of the first major events that was televised in America when it comes to mass media hysteria, protests, those sorts of things. This was in a time where cell phones finally had been invented. You'll see various gigantic cell phones throughout the video. This was also a time when we actually had good cameras. People would put cameras, attach them to helicopters, and you could broadcast live for the first time ever from a helicopter over a crime scene and say, hey guys, this is what's going on. So live TV, so to speak. And so you'll need to explain, where did it start, why did it start, and then what is the story with the Koreans? Who are the victims? There are many victims in this particular riot, but who are the major victims? How did they fight back? Why did they have to fight back? And then how did the Koreans organize themselves to overcome and prevent any damage? Last questions for comprehension purposes, what ended the riots? And at the very end of all of this, you need to then say what key details would go into a police report. But we'll talk more about that in a second. So pause this video, watch that video. And welcome back. So let's get to the main events of this particular video. So I'll answer your questions. Now, I do hope you are paying attention, not just waiting for the part where I give you guys the answers. So how long was this riot? How long was the crime? It was 5 days long. How much damage? There was about 1 billion. So in today's terms, this would be like 4 billion, 4.5. I'm not too sure exactly for inflation. A lot of damage was done. But also 60 people died, and I think it was 3,000 people were injured over these particular 5 days. Now, where did it start and why? It all started because of this particular piece of footage. Remember how I said that people got cameras? Well, people also got home handheld cameras for themselves. The camera quality here is very bad, but this was recorded by a civilian. And long story short, the lawyers against the police clipped it in such a way that it made it look like 4 police officers brutally, kicked a guy down on the ground and said, oh, boo-hoo, these police are brutally assaulting and trying to kill a young black man. It's never happened before in America, obviously it has. But they tried really hard to frame it as such. And then the police lawyers showed the full clip, which showed this particular gentleman attacking the police officers and then trying to run away. And then I can't remember what else he did. There's another clip of this. But long story short, this clip was shown in its completeness to the jury. And because of this, the jury acquitted all 4 police officers and simply said, yeah, sure, they handled him much more roughly than they should have, but he attacked the police, and basically the jury decided that the police officer's behavior was justified, and your average police officer would do the same. So he was acquitted. This person, from memory, he went to prison and then he came out, but he was for the rest of his life in a wheelchair or something. So not a happy end at all. And this particular incident, when the jury when it was read out to the jury, here we go. We have the first major issue. Everyone wants to riot. Everyone's pissed off. Everyone's very emotional and wants revenge. And this is where your report would begin. So let's go back over here. Here we are. And let's look at a new report. This was a report taken from today. And if we look at this police report, we see here the first detail. So it goes over how there was attack. Location. Okay, so you need to begin our report with a location. Where was this? Where did it happen? This is the part that you should know. And it started at an alcohol store, a liquor store at a very particular location. You need to write that down. Next part. Who is the victim? The initial victim, there were 2 people who were attacked in the liquor store. You need to add this down. So we see here, according to the 37-year-old, he was walking on a sidewalk at the corner of Nollendorfplatz and Bülowerstraße. My German pronunciation is terrible, I know. At around this time. So you have here a time, you have a location, you have your initial crime, so to speak. So this is where, if you're paying attention, this is where you would start your report. Okay, then we want to say, why did the riot start? We've got some more additional information, and then
Restored.
No, going along here. Yep. This particular individual is the next crime that you would want to put into your report. The men arrest him after he attacks them, and this creates further discord. This creates further anxiety between society and the police, which leads to the really bad decision. Yeah, around about this time that everyone from these locations within the town, the police just leave. They just abandon that location. So we then have further more timestamps. We have further timestamps as to what's going on, or this location. It's all extraordinarily sad. I think this clip here, if you're watching this particular thing, unironically, I've heard arguments on the internet that this clip started or inspired GTA, the game. If you've ever seen the original versions of the GTA game, it's a top-down view. This is probably why everyone watched these riots as a top-down view, because it was so dangerous. Very few reporters initially were going out and just recording things. Everyone saw this from a helicopter's perspective. And as a result, very, very likely encouraged people to create the initial GTA style top-down. Very, very interesting theory I've seen. I have no idea if it is true or not. Okay. So, at this point here, I think, this is day 2. Okay. So we've watched about 5 minutes of the video, and we could safely say that we are going to start our report. Okay, so now we're going to continue by trying to comprehend something and look at a particular report that I have drafted, what yours might look of day 1. Again, I'm not a police officer. You probably added a lot of different details, but mine looks something like this, except we've got words missing. So let's read through this very quickly, and then you guys will do the classic fill the gaps exercises. So this is an ongoing murder and assault investigation into the 1992 LA riots where suspects were seen ... What were they doing? Ooh, this is the part that you would add in. The trial of excessive force ended with the judgment of 4 police officers. The officers were ... Afterwards, well, after this verdict, at 4:15, a liquor store by unknown men. The windows of the property were ... and the store owner's son was ... with a beer bottle. 999 was dialed and 2 members of the LAPD responded. The local area was ... by police, and during this the police were ... by a local youth. 12 officers responded and the youth was ... by police. The crowd grew and watched and interfered with police duties. The officers were ... by the police chief to evacuate. Looting began on mass scale, along with assaults and arson attacks to buildings. This was ... by millions on TV via helicopters covering the situation. At 12:15, an order was ... by Mayor Bradley commanding a dusk till dawn curfew. So, if you're a big brain, you can probably fill in the blanks right now by yourself. Otherwise, watch the video. It's only up to about 4.5 minutes long, and fill in the blanks. That won't take you too long. So let's go back here, and I'll allow you to pause the video and try to find your answers. Okay, so let's finish these dots. So now we're seen attacking people, or we're seen doing criminal acts. This one is actually the opening sentence, but it's not in the passive at all. Okay, where the first 4 officers were acquitted. Acquitted means freigesprochen. A liquor store was attacked by unknown men, or looted by unknown men, or was assaulted. The windows of the property were smashed, and the store owners was either assaulted, attacked, anything along those lines, with a beer bottle. 911 was dialed. The local area was searched by police. Searched. You could say scouted, anything along those lines, as long as it means something similar to search. And the police were attacked by a local youth. From memory, he threw a brick at their car. So he did something really stupid. Throwing a brick at someone's car while they're driving, not a good idea. 12 officers responded and the youth was arrested by police. A crowd grew and watched. The police officers were ordered. They were ordered by the police chief to evacuate. He basically said, everyone out of a certain region, is just too dangerous. We don't want to play. Looting began on mass scale, blah, blah, blah. This was observed, watched, seen, anything like that. At 12:15, an order was given. An order was given or was signed, something along those lines. Anything like that is what I would add in to this particular report. Okay. So you should roughly be at the 30-minute mark now of this lesson. So let's look at the main exercise that I want you guys to do. Finish this report. It should take you about 10 minutes. Again, some will do it in 5, some will do it in 15. Everyone is different. But I want you to watch the rest of the video and finish this report. I will be asking questions about this, and there will be prizes. So if you win, congrats. But please finish this report using passive sentences. You can use some present perfect. You can use simple perfect. It doesn't matter. The main thing is that you focus on the passive, saying who did what or what was done. Okay? So I'll give you guys 10 minutes for that, and then we will jump to next activity. Okay, so for the final activity, so you should now be at the 35-40 minute mark of this exercise. We are jumping, no, yes, to this part. So I've just auto-translated some of these exercises here. This is all nice and groovy. Not the attack, obviously, isn't. But I don't want you to immediately just simply go click translate. Oh yeah, it's all in English. Pick a topic. Pick an actual police report. Pick a police report in Berlin, not from this day. Oh God. Oh, in Reinickendorf of all places. Oh God. Where did that happen? Oh God. I actually have friends here. Okay, so they're only injured, but not. Okay. How would you report this? Add your own details if necessary. Don't copy it word for word. Don't simply go, translate to English. Wait, where's the translate option? There we go. So don't just go, herp derp, hey, homework done. No. What I want you guys to do for this activity, add your own words to it. Add extra details. Anything that can be changed and be made passive, do so. For example, witnesses have been searched for by police to an attempted manslaughter charge. Okay, said to have been fired on. Okay, that is a passive sentence. Fantastic. The police officers were alerted by locals. Alerted to the scene. The 3 men were found by the police. Treatments were given to all 3. So on and so forth. Something like this. Pick reports. Again, reports would differ. The website is, one second, I'll go back. Berlin.de Polizeimeldungen, aktuelle Polizeimeldungen. So what I want you guys to do for this activity is go through, find an actual police report, not just a fake report that we just created on that video. I want you to go through and write down and create your own active report from today. Pick 1 or 2, look at them, and try to explain it in English. How would you explain this report in English? And translate whatever you possibly can into passive. And then we will be discussing these sentences and these points in our first lesson together. Okay. Thank you very much. This ends our online sequence of lessons. I look forward to meeting you all in person. Thank you very much for working with this. I hope you enjoyed this. I tried my best to make it as interactive as possible and not just something you sit back and turn your brain off. This is a thinking activity more than just a simple listening activity. See you guys all when I do, and all the best. Ciao, ciao.